Alrighty, so this video is going to be just kind of a broad overview and hopefully give you a rough idea on how to really use the system. Because for the most part, it's the same all across the board with, I guess, just getting the features you want. So the concept is if you want a feature, you add the component that contains that feature. So for example, this is the one I typically give, and that is going to be for optics. So we'll start here with the hollow sight. So let's say I want this to now be a aimable device. Well, everything that is in regards to procedurals is inside of the procedural anim component. So to make this optic aimable, we add the procedural anim component and we just fill out the initialize section. So in this case, because it's only an optic and we're not going to be holding it in our hand, which you can also do, we just need to give it the procedural mesh name. So static mesh, and then the aim tags, or the aim socket names, sorry. So for example, these two here are not needed. However, the first one is the one that is lined up right in the center of the glass. So that's the one we actually aim with, such as when you ADS like so. The other two are just optional, so they're more so for if you want to build a, say you have an L can or something like that, so you can aim through looking at the reticle, and then you have a built-in set of iron sights on the top of the housing. That's what you would use, say, another aim socket for. So you can switch between them, similar to how you do in something like Tarkov. And then these can be ignored for the optic. Same thing with this. Okay, you now have a optic that is aimable, and you can apply the exact same logic to, say, a laser and really kind of whatever you want. So iron sights, so on and so on. And you'll find that this exists on the Firearm as well. So moving on, let's say we want to have a little bit more control and do some optic specific things. So we want to control the optic, so the reticle specifically. Well, we just add the optic component to it, and we again give it the mesh name, so static mesh, and this one can be ignored because this is not a magnified optic, so we do not need a scene capture. And now we have all the reticle settings. So here we can give it to where we switch between the Radiotech reticle and the green. Very simple. Unaimed can be ignored because it's not a part of this. It's for a magnified optic. And then we have our reticle brightness as well as our reticle brightness for the night vision mode. And everything with regards to magnification, as you can assume, can be ignored for it's for magnified optics. So we now have control over our reticle. Now let's say we want to make it a magnified optic. So we'll look at the LPVO. So with this one here, we just want to add a SKG optic scene capture component to it. Same thing like before, there's no initialized settings. However, if you really want to tweak it, these are the defaults, but you would just change things like the resolution of, say, the render target it constructs, the format at which it creates it. And here are really the only things that would need to be set. And this also assumes that you are not using my master material for it, which simulates the eye box and all that kind of stuff. So now we have our scene capture component. We can just go to our optic component here, and under initialize, we want to make sure we match this up. So optic scene capture component name, we want to make sure that this matches the name of the scene capture component. Moving on, that now gives us access to all the same settings, so we can swap reticle materials. We have an unaimed material, so this will swap it to glass when we are not aiming. We again have all of our brightness, night vision modes, but now we also have magnification, so we can control our magnification, how we zoom throughout that magnification, such as we do smooth or we jump between each value, the rate at which we zoom, whether or not we want to shrink the eye box as we zoom in and out, and whether or not the reticle is first focal plane, so whether or not the reticle scales with your magnification, and we have our zeroing options, so on and so forth. So that's the general consensus of how all this kind of works together. Now moving on one more step farther, this is fairly new, and I'm not entirely actually sure where I'd put it here. So now we have the same idea with a rangefinder. So rangefinder is kind of like the next step up from the LPVO. You have the exact same components and everything. The only difference is we now add the rangefinder component. So we give it the rangefinder mesh name. So again, just static mesh, nothing fancy. Then the laser socket name. So where we want the laser to be projected from, which is just a simple socket right here on the front of the rangefinder. And then this is an optional one, but it's the text render component name. So that'll be this guy here. So this kind of depends, my sensitivity is a little high, on if you want to do it like as a text render component to display the range, or if you want to have it be material based, which is quite a bit more complex. You have that ability to do so, really based on the events here. So for example, we have on ranged, we have the distance, and all the information you would need to construct it inside of a material. You would just pass it into your dynamic material instance. And same thing, you have all the settings. So that's really kind of the overview on how this entire framework is set to be handled. So everything's in its own component, no dependencies on one another. It's just you add what you want. So if we look over here at our pawn, this just requires a shooter pawn component. And that's kind of, the shooter pawn component is really just kind of the, I don't know, I guess you'd kind of call it like the access point, so to speak, to anything that you're holding. So it holds your anim instance, your mesh, kind of everything you typically have in, say, a pawn, in conjunction with what you're currently holding. And then you use what you're currently holding to get access to other things. However, the shooter pawn component also has other kind of things for you. So if I find something that is not blueprint, so for example, here we have the shooter pawn component. We want to start aiming, we call start aiming. We want to stop aiming, we call stop aiming. And then if we look at the optics, this is probably a better example. So here you can see we want to change the point of impact. So this is the 0. We want to go up, down, left, and right. So we just, off the shooter pawn component, we can get our current optic component. And this is specifically the one that we're actually aiming with. Moving down, we have other things. So we can call cycle reticle, control our reticle brightness, go in and out of night vision mode, zoom in and out, so on and so forth. So this shooter pawn component acts like an interface to a lot of the rest of the system. Now, when you want to get more in depth, you need to get access to, say, the firearm component. So let me go ahead and find some examples of that. It took me a minute. I couldn't remember where I put everything. But so for example, here we have start and stop point aiming and cycle aiming device, such as aiming between like a different optics, swapping between your laser and your optic to aim with and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of done through here. So the shooter pawn component can go ahead and get the current firearm component. So this will be basically your held actor. It'll grab the firearm component of it if it exists, so you can run operations on it. Same concept here. The only difference is, well, really here I'm just kind of doing checks like if I'm aiming, then I will go ahead and I will go through and cycle. If I'm not aiming, I don't want to do anything. That's just for the sake of handling input. So for reference here, I do not have another optic on it. I'll go to the handguard top and we'll add offset. So here I can cycle between like so, and that's just really all driven through, well, just this. So it's really quite simple to handle and use. So that's kind of a overview. Hopefully that was informative on how kind of the system is meant to be used. It's just like I kind of pointed out at the start, you add what you want and that kind of thing. And there's not really much else to it. It just kind of gives you a host of functions that you can use. So for example, here I have just the firearm base class that I use for the example. It contains a firearm component. Again, you still have the basic initialized settings. The only requirement for the firearm component is it requires the attachment manager component, just for the sake of this handles and optimizes pretty much everything attachment related. And this doesn't have any sort of initialize that you really need to modify, except based upon your game. Like you might not want to have the client be allowed to, say, add or remove attachments. You might want to have that be done entirely through the server or through your own system there. Just that kind of thing. So pretty straightforward. I want to move on to some other things in the next video to try to keep these around the 10-minute mark and under. So I'll see you then.